Hello, everyone, and welcome you all to another chapter of the Advanced CapCut tutorial. So now we are on our chapter number 12, where we'll be learning about tracking objects in CapCut. Okay, so we're gonna learn that how you are going to track objects in CapCut. So let's not waste time and let's get started. So now over here on my screen, as you guys can see, now I'm here in the home page of CapCut. So the first thing is going to be creating a project. Okay, so over here, I'll be creating up a new project. Let's click on create project and I'll have my interface shortly over here. So this is basically the interface in which I'm going to work on. If you want me to rename it, so I'll just name this one as tracking objects. Let me just click anywhere outside. And now if you do want to import your video, you guys can come here and you guys can import your video from here if you have it inside your PC. Otherwise, you can go on to your stock materials, and as you guys can see, in my stock materials, I already have this particular video which I do have star marked. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take this particular video over here onto my timeline, and now I will just click on Shift and Z to zoom to fit over here in the timeline. Okay, so now let's select this particular footage at first. And now what I'm gonna do is if I do wanna come here, let's go to video. There are this lot of options. Okay, like if you want to track as well on the basic. Okay, so here you guys can see there is stabilize option. Okay, if you do want to turn it on. Okay, there is blend option. Okay, so there is transformation option. There is retouching option right over here. And under speed, you guys can see you do have the standard speed and also the standard color right over here. And under animation, you guys can see there is in animation, out animation, and also there is this combo as well. And under adjustment, you do have all the options of adjusting the color. So HSL is there, there is curves as well. But for me, I will again directly go over here into the video option. And from the video option, now for tracking, what I need to do is I need to basically add out a text box. Okay, so I can just come here into this text panel. And if I do want to take any kind of templates as well, I can basically choose from all these templates right over here. Okay, so I can actually choose from here. Otherwise, if I don't like it, what I can also do is I can just go to add text and basically add a default text box. Okay, so I can come here. Let's just come here and now let's write down a text. Let's go motion or motion tracking. And I'm also going to change the font from here. So I'm just going to change it right over here. If you do want to decrease the font size, you guys can come here and you guys can basically change the font size. But over here, I'm going to change the color as well. And once I do have changed out the color, okay, so you guys can see there are a lot of these options. Okay, like if you do want to decrease spacing, okay, or if you do want to increase spacing, you guys can do that. Let me just keep it in -2. If you want to increase spacing between the letters, you guys can also do that. Okay, so let me just keep it on 0 as well. Let's see how it actually looks with bold and without bold. There are also different pre-styles. Okay, you guys can choose these pre-styles as well. Okay, so I will just select this one right over here. And now let's just come down. Let me just place it right over here. And let's come down and let's see what are the different preset styles. So I have choose this particular preset, and now what I can do is I will just keep this one right over here. Okay, so I will just keep this right over here. Let me just make sure that it appears right from here. And now I want to enable tracking of these text. Okay, so basically what I actually want to do over here is that, as you guys can see, I do have this particular car well over here. Okay, so wherever this particular car will move, my text will move on to the same way. Okay, so I want to do that particular thing. Okay, so let's come here, and for that, now I will just go on and I will just click on tracking, and I will just click on motion track. Okay, so I will just click on motion track, and on direction, I will select both. And what I'm gonna do is I am going to select this. Okay, so eventually I'll just select this car, and now I am going to start the motion tracking. Okay, so let's start, and it might take some time, so I'll just wait. So you guys can already see that it is just motion tracking the whole video or the whole clip. Like wherever this particular car is going, you guys can see that my text is also moving on the same way. Okay, so this is an amazing thing what you guys can actually do right over here. You guys can see it's actually changing, and the text is also rotating on the same way. Okay, so as you guys can see, and it's almost done right over here. Okay, and if you feel that, well, your tracking is basically done, you guys can just cancel it right over here. Okay, so now this is basically done. Okay, so the tracking is basically done. You guys can see it is actually trying to see on both the ways. Okay, so let me just wait for a while. And well, it's now done. Okay, so now if I just play this video, you guys can see how this motion tracking actually works. Okay, so you guys can see this is the text I do have over here, and it will disappear eventually. Okay, so that is how the motion tracking basically works. And the same way, let's say I want to come here or track, I will just name this one track object 1. Okay, because now if I come here, let me just go to this audio option. Okay, so under audio I will try to search some songs. Okay, so let's go with the keyword desert. Okay, so let's click on enter, and let's see what all do I have over here. Let's play those things out. Let's play this. let's take this. Let me just place it right over here. Now Shift and Z, and you can just stream this thing up eventually. Shift and Z right over here, and you guys can just export this video. So for the last time, let's see how it actually looks. So yeah, now this is actually done. Let's click on export. So this is tracking objects one. Let's select the location. Where do I want to save it? Let's go to my desktop. Let's go to the resource file. Let's select this particular folder and let's export it. And exporting is done as well. I'll just cancel this thing, and let me just close this thing down. And now let's come here and let's create up a new project. Okay, so I'll just click on OK, and it will basically create me a new project where I will show you that the same thing like tracking objects, how you will be able to do it using a sticker instead of a text or any kind of object basically. So now for that, again, I will just go to my stock materials, which I have already saved. And what I'm gonna do is, as you guys can see, there are all of these videos. Okay. So as you guys can see, there are all these videos right over here. Let me just export this into my timeline, and let's click on Shift and Z to zoom to fit here in the timeline. And let's first see this whole video. Okay. So you can just create a kind of a video over here. Okay. So let's try to see. Okay, over here. And now what you're gonna do here is, let's say you want to follow a particular car. Okay, so let's come here, and what I eventually want to do is I want to follow this car. Okay, let's say I want to come here, and basically I do want to follow this particular car. Okay, so what I can do for that is I can just go to the stickers option, and from the stickers option I can just search for arrow. So let's go for some arrow right over here. And now if I want to mention this one right over here, for that I will just select this particular arrow, and what I'm gonna do is I will just place it right over here. Let's see how it actually looks. Okay, so let's come here, and now I will just scale it down, and also I will just give this thing a 180-degree rotation. Okay, so let's just decrease the size from here. Otherwise, instead of selecting this, let me choose something which is uh, looking a lot better. Okay, like maybe some colorful ones. Okay, so let's go with this one. And what I can do is I can come here, maybe I will just place it, and also eventually I will just scale it down. Okay, so what I can do is I can come here, and maybe at the beginning itself, what I can do is I will just place it right over here. And now I want to follow this particular car as well. Okay, so let me just place my arrow towards this one. And now I am going to add tracking. So let's click on tracking. Let's go with motion track. And now I will just decrease the size, let's say. And eventually what I'm gonna do is I am going to motion track this particular car. Okay, and I will just choose the direction on both the sides. Okay, so let me see till till here, and yeah, this is fine. And I will just start motion tracking, and it might take some time. So you guys can see how it's actually motion tracking it. And if you do want to cancel it, you guys can basically cancel it as well. Okay, so let's come here, and eventually you guys can just decrease the size and maybe place it right over here. Okay, so let's come here and let me just motion track. Let's decrease the size eventually, and let's try to restart. And now it's done. I'll just click on cancel, and let's see how this actually looks. Okay, you guys can see this arrow is marking, and now it's gone. So this is how you guys can actually do some motion tracking, and also with text you guys can do so. And the same way, if you do want to come here, and now I want to put another arrow, or let's come here, let me just put on this kind of arrows. Okay, so let's come right over here. Let me just place this arrow somewhere over here. And now let's just decrease the size. Okay, and let's say from here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come here. I'm going to point my arrow right here. And now I am going to do for tracking. So let's go with motion tracking. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to motion track this particular part. Okay, so I will come here and I'll just start tracking. Okay, so let's come here. Let's click on start. Otherwise, let's bring it a bit further. Okay, so let me just bring it a bit farther over here, and I am going to put on this particular car. Let's select this one. Let me just place it right over here on top, and from here basically I do want to start, and let's click on start, and you guys can see it is tracking the car eventually. Okay, so you guys can see it's tracking the car quite well, and once this is done you guys can just cancel it. Okay, so let me just come here and let's see how it actually works. So you guys can see it's tracking and it's gone. So you guys can just come here, and I will just name this one as track objects 2. Okay. So I hope this class was clear on how you can track objects using the motion track, whether it be a sticker or whether it be a text. You guys can actually use both of this right over here. So I hope to see you all in the next chapter where we're gonna learn more about CapCut and its usage. So now I'll just export this particular file. I'll select the folder and I'll export it. So see you all in the next chapter.